Hello everybody and welcome to Nick's Vision to Hear. Always great to have you on board. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Today we're going to look beyond the NDIS like we did in the 80s when we looked at beyond 2000. Let's get started with a very interesting topic because what we're going to talk about is beyond the NDIS, finding real friends. Okay, let's talk about this. This got me to thinking to this after an idea was given to me to do this video, and I think it's actually very important and very timely that we do a video now that the NDIS is looking at wanting to cut back on funding. So one of the key things, this is in your green bucket and your yellow bucket, as I mentioned in previous videos about those buckets. This doesn't come from your red buckets, okay? This is from your predominantly your green and your yellow buckets. Your green buckets is your big funding pool. Your yellow bucket is your sort of medium pool. So let's get into it. So let's look beyond the support worker. So let's take the support worker out of the equation. What social life do you have outside of your home without a support worker? So let's look back pre-NDIS. What did you have? Did you have a carer come to your home? Did you have family members that came to look after you? Let's go back to that era, because we're about to delve into something that you may need to tap into if your funding is taken away. So that's the reality check. Now let's look at the goal of what we want to achieve by looking beyond the support worker. So let's go down a path of what you can do independently or with other family members. So if you only go out of your house with a support worker from the NDIS, chances are if your funding's cut, you could be in real trouble. So let's get back to the basics of how to achieve this, and let's put some actions in place. Start looking around at your networks. Start thinking of the people you talk to outside the NDIS. You'd have family members. You might be a member of a club. You might be a member of a Facebook group. You might like to go to a local park. Are you able to do that either on your own or with a family member? Now, the reason I say this is because we're going to look and bring the support worker back in now. They're not going to be there for that, but they may be there to be able to do your weekly shop. They may be able to be there to go and get your medications filled. So their role may change depending on how your plan is written. And this is the key to understanding this. If your plan is written in such a way that you can't get these supports without valid reason, you need to start thinking about your social network outside NDIS support workers. So start utilizing that time with an NDIS support worker differently. Sit down beforehand and write out or type out, use AI to write it for you, whatever you want to do, a list of what you need to do in that time. So get your NDIS support worker to help you with travel time so you don't overcommit. You've got to remember they have 2 hours of time with you. So let's start and work on that basis as to the travel time, which is transit time between places. Let's look at what you can do in that time. You could do your weekly shop. They can give you a hand when you get home to put things away. You may utilize that time. You might think, I'll go and put my prescriptions in at the chemist. I'll go to the supermarket. I'll go back and pick my prescriptions up. We might have an extra half an hour to fill in. So I'll go and have a look at a couple of shops that I regularly like to look at in that time. So you utilize that time in that way. Also, if you need to pay bills, if you still pay bills manually, map that into that time. So when you set up your plan review, you know to tell the NDIA or the NDIS system, your local area coordinator, whoever calls you, you can tell them that you utilize that time for that reason. That's not being dodgy. That's actually setting up a really good point that you need that service. If you just tell them you're going out for a coffee, they're probably going to pull that funding on you because it's not actually what they would call necessary. So you've got to remember, we're dealing with people who wear lanyards around their neck. They see you as a number, and they see themselves as the system that you've got to get through to get your funding. So let's now look at hacking the tech. How do we build into these networks? How do we get these networks to come to us outside the NDIS support system? Well, let's dial into your family and friends first. So let's hack the tech into them. So let's look at how we communicate with our family and friends. Are you in private chat groups in Messenger with family? Do you dial into those occasionally? Well, here's a way to utilize that. Start asking family and friends to take you places. That's not being a burden on them, that's asking for their help. Now, here's why this is important. This gets you ready if you lose NDIS money in this area. So if you're tapping into your family networks and your friends, you start to actually build a social network. And this is justification too, because the NDIS will ask you this question. Do you go out of your home with your family and friends? And you can say, yes, but to social occasions. I don't use it for my shopping time or anything like that. I utilize my time with a support worker to do that so they can help me when I get home. That's why you do that. It's very important. So your time with your family and friends isn't wasted running around the shops doing all your errands for you. That can be social time. That's very important. So the solution to all of this with the tech is utilize the tech that's free. Don't simply go out and think, I need to buy the latest AI to write all these messages to people and everything. You don't need to do that. So let's do a few little hacks for you. Get yourself an AI text generator like Gemini, or there's Grok, there's ChatGPT. Once you set up a little vault in it, now let me explain what a vault is. In Gemini, I have a personal vault set up. So why I do that is because I do YouTube content, I need scripts written in a way that I perceive for me to be able to do my job. So why I do that is I have that set up so I can actually utilize that to see the scripts and write them for these videos. So when I do that, I have specific things written that actually how I say it. So when it writes an email or a text on my behalf, it sounds like me. So I just copy and paste it or send it as a draft into Gmail. You can do that within Gemini. You've got to know how to copy and paste things. So the secret to that is when you ask an email client or a chat client to do that, ask them to do it as a copyable version so you can simply paste it into your email. So you copy the subject in and then copy the body in. This is best to be done probably on a computer because you need to do it and be easy to do it. Texting, you can do it. You've just got to set your system up to do it the right way. All right, so that's hacking the tech. So you don't need to spend big money on technology to simply communicate with friends. Use Messenger. Messenger through the Meta system has video call, has phone calls. So if you don't know the person's number, you can still contact them. So if you prefer to verbal communication, you can do that. If you prefer video conversation, you can do that. So it's very important to do that. Let's take back control. So what we're trying to do here is give you independence in case you lose money on the NDIS. So let's now talk about taking back control into your own hands so you're not in the destiny of others. You're not on a payroll roster. Your social time becomes your social time, not someone else's roster to be put onto an invoice number. So how do we do this? Tap into the tech, start talking to your family and friends, start networking with them on a social level. Now, the reason social level is a good idea is because if you get a support worker to take you to somebody's house, you can only stay there for a couple of hours. They're on the clock. So you can't stay there for longer. But if you stay there with a family member, you can stay there for longer. And it's more of a social setting. It's not carer versus participant. There's none of that. So that takes that away. So it moves that to the side and it becomes more of a social event. So let's look at how the mindset works to shift that way. So what you've got to try and do is not think of your family and friends, if you ask them too much, as a burden on them. Explain to them why. Tell them that you might lose NDIS funding, and I've got to be prepared for that. So this is preparing, like you see people preparing for doomsdays, where they have stockpiles of everything. You're planning and preparing for something that could possibly happen. So you're planning forward. So what you're doing is setting yourself up a social network if the funding falls. Now, you may be lucky and you may keep your funding, but this sets you up a network outside the NDIS framework. So let's put some actions in place. Set up, if you don't have a chat with your family and friends, set one up. They're pretty easy to set up. It's not that difficult. If you set one up, or get your support worker while you've got time with them to set it up for you. So what you can do is you can then talk to your family and friends. So you set that up, and I have one for my family where I need work done around the house. That's what I primarily use it for. We use it for a bit of socialisation and a bit of fun. But I ask people to get things done, and that's what I do, and they understand why, and they know why. So if you do that, you start to build that network. So there's an opportunity for you. If you need something done around your house, ask your family. That brings socialisation into them helping you. So let's focus less on the support worker. Let's focus on socialisation. Let's get back to being what we once were. Instead of relying on a paid employee to do the work for you, let's bring it back in some circles to family and friends. And this way, if you do this, your transport funding is going to spread a lot further. And the beauty of that is, if you go on group events with that service provider, you can have more of them because you'll have money allocated that you would have used for all your social times are all going to be banked up a little bit. So you might have that chance to go to that once in a year footy game, or you might be able to go to that once a year motor show. So this is what I'm talking about today, is stepping away from the support service provider reliance and start relying on your social network. Your social network is family, friends, and associates. Hope this video helps, and if you like what we lay down here on the channel, feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification or bell. So whenever I get a bright idea for a video, you'll be the first to know about it. You enjoy the rest of your day and think about what I've just told you. So start thinking about those social networks above the support workers at the NDIS. They do a great job, but let's actually look beyond them to give ourselves a bit more social life instead of support life. You enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Nick Pollock from Nick's Vision to Hear.